Understanding the sensitivities around knowing your health status is very important when it comes to intimacy. And this is one of the topics that I know is hard to talk about because TikTok took one of my videos down when I tried to make it, so I'm going to try to redo it again in a different way. Welcome back to Along the Spiritual Journey. So, the video I was talking about when it came to understanding your physical health as well as your intimacy health is it's not an easy topic when it comes to people becoming, I would say, affiliated with certain diagnosis. And unfortunately, it's not one that's easy to talk about because we are shamed on both sides of the spectrum of either being shamed of having something that we didn't want because we were just trying to experience energy and have fun and enjoy our bodies and love our bodies. And then there's the other side of it where we're taught to fear it and stay away from it and go get checked up and make sure that we're okay and to know our status. And so there's a level of fear around it. And so when we bring these two worlds together, it's becomes this weird battle of fear and shame. Neither one of them is something that the human condition is really built to sustain, which is why we tend to create a lot of different stereotypes and stigmas around how we then interact with others. I've said this before, I've been guilty of it in the past. I'm an old school gay, so for me, we were taught to fear everything. We were taught to make sure you take care of yourself and wrap it up and make sure that you're not putting yourself out there and exposing your energy overtly so that you're being used by somebody else's need to get off, right? The thing that I wanted to talk about is when you have intimacy positivity, um, it's okay to be open and have multiple partners. It's okay to be open and know that you can be as free as you like. But there is a dual side that's a double-edged sword, which is people who aren't safe, people who don't play it fair and are honest up front and have the conversation with each other. Because the thing that I've learned for myself is that when I bring the topic up, if I say anything that sounds like I am trying to isolate or ostracize, then I become someone who is now villainized versus someone who's just talking about their autonomy and wanting to make sure that I'm okay and healthy and safe as well. The same thing for the person on the spectrum of the condition. It's not easy. It's not fun. It's not something that's ever going to be easy to talk about. But in the reality of being humans and adults, when something happens, it's either we allow ourselves to go into the distorted darkness, which is lying and shame and putting other people at risk and putting other people in situations where now they have to consider, did they vet the person right? Did they ask the right questions? Or did they do something that made them feel like they had to hire lie, right? Because a lot of times people, again, they think that the lying is a judgment on them where they can't handle the truth versus the person just telling the truth. And I'm not trying to shame, again, anyone who's going through this situation because I have friends and family who have gone through the situation and they talk to me and I talk to them and we have these conversations because they need to be had. No one wants to catch anything. No one wants to have anything, but it doesn't mean that you're not lovable, that you're not valuable, that you don't matter. On the spectrum of, it doesn't mean that that person who's going to choose to interact with you doesn't have the right to choose if they want to take on that emotional, I'm going to say, understanding, because it's not baggage. It's not something that's negative, but it is something that people forget when you see someone you care about going through something, and no matter how much you tell them you care about them and you love them, if they don't see themselves as that and they push you away, now you both are feeling rejected and you're in this energy loophole, angry at this thing that created distance between you. Because I tell people, don't get mad at people, get mad at these little bugs that keep creeping into our lives and conditioning us to believe that we're not worthy of having more. We can always have more, but it's about being smart and understanding that as long as we keep communicating and having conversations without feeling like we're being attacked on either side, then we're going to get to a better place of understanding how to be healthy for each other and self. The most important part of this topic that I've said before to people is I have the right to know just as much as they have the right to disclose. I have the right to disclose just as much as they have the right to know. If you are in a sexual or intimate situation, you have to communicate. You're just not going to get around it. And I want people to remember it's important to not feel bad about talking about something you have triggers around, right? We have all been taught to fear different parts of life and conditions that happen to us. But when we really step into it and lean into it and have the conversations about it, and people allow us to have the space to talk about it, then it's a lot easier to get to a place of solace and understanding, right? Because the thing that has become so taboo is people have become martyrs to the cause, and now they become reverse bullies to the point where it's like, well, if you can't accept this person, I don't accept you. I've never been that type of person. I say, listen, I don't accept this behavior, or I don't accept this thing that I don't want to take on myself. But it doesn't mean that I don't accept that person as a human being and that I can't respect them and love them and see them as all the value that they are. We can always be interchangeable. I think we're so used to it being all or nothing, and then people get left with nothing. And then that's where the isolation and depression comes from, because now it feels like you can't even talk to this person or have an open conversation with someone about their intimacy status. And it's not, again, to try to make anyone feel bad, but if we're out here having fun and, we're a community now of pills where everyone just says take a pill and get over it, I still feel that is kind of disheartening on both ends of it, where, again, from myself, I've never had to take pills for anything. And I'm not saying that that's me trying to act like I'm better than someone, but it's like, if I haven't had to do it before, why am I going to start doing it now just for the off chance of me encountering someone who doesn't know or hasn't disclosed? I can respect that, but I still should know, right? It's trying to get it back to this anonymous and not knowing anything, to me, is very contradictory to being confident and knowing yourself and speaking up and holding space for yourself and others. Because I think the most important thing to say is, if I had any situation where it's a intimacy status issue, then I would disclose to the person and I would let them know beforehand, before getting involved with them, what's going on. I know it's not easy, but this is the part of emotional intelligence that we're not talking about. We're not talking about the deeper depressions in the worlds of isolation that create subcultures of distorted acceptance, where people then abuse the medications and they abuse the status and they abuse it to the point that people don't know what to trust anymore. And it's one of those things where we all have to take ownership of how we interact with each other on intimacy levels. Again, there's no judgment. I just think it's unfair that if we talk about it, we're damned if we do. If we don't talk about it, we're damned if we do. So it's really important to be adults about these topics, since we're interacting with them, and understanding that our body is the most important thing that we have on this earth. And the only thing that we can do is make sure that we maintain it to the best of our ability until we pass from this earth. And no matter what happens to it or what you encounter, you're still worthy of your life and what you desire and what you deserve. It's just important to make sure that you don't lie. Don't lie about anything. On both ends, don't lie. Because if we do that and keep perpetuating shame and fear around things that we can help each other through and catch in an earlier stage and make sure that we all live healthy, long lives, then let's do that together, versus making it seem like there's people out there who don't understand, and if they don't subscribe to the way that we are now okay with hiding everything, again, because again, there is a level of hiding that comes with all STI, and we don't want it to be about shame. We want it to be about knowing that we can communicate openly and that we can help each other remain healthy and happy and balanced, and this interaction that we all like to do and we know what we're talking about. And just play it safe. That's all I can say, and I hope that this resonates, and love ya.